What's going on, EDC people, and what's our journey today? First, I just wanted to wish everyone a happy holidays. For those of you who celebrate, I'm not sure that I'll have another video before Christmas. I probably will, but just in case, I wanted to make sure I said that to all of you because I truly wish each and every one of you a very Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays, Happy Hanukkah, whatever. Hopefully you and yours are well this time of year. In a previous video, I mentioned I was going to do a little bit more of a detailed review. Well, not so much a review because I've only had it for so long because it's from the Apex Pass Around group. The Protech Runt in the modified Warncliffe blade pattern. Now, there are at least one other variation of this. There is at least one other variation of this, and it's a reverse tanto. I'm not sure if there's other variations, but this one is the modified Warncliffe. And by modified, it means that the blade is not an exact straight blade. It has that belly to it, so that's pretty cool. And if I'll line it up kind of with the straightness on the tablecloth there, and you can kind of gauge the belly a little bit there. Okay, so overall it's 5.15 inches long. It's got a blade that's 2 inches. Well, at least that's how I measure it. It comes in at 1.95, but I say that's close enough. The sharpened part, though, just for people who are curious about that, this here is 1.85 inches. The blade is CPM 20 CV, which, as many of you will know, is analog to M390 and CTS 204P. So it's very nice steel quality. And an aluminum body, 2 aluminum slabs that come together to make what feels like an integral design in hand. It's 1/2 inch thick, almost exactly, and it's got a chamfering around the edges. I'll show you as I rotate. All the corners are broken down, so it's nice and comfortable. Now it's kind of short in hand. As you can see, it's kind of like a 3-finger grip for me. But I've found that it's comfortable. You can see the milling on the aluminum is actually where the jimping is. My thumb falls right there. I like that. It's actually quite comfortable in hand. Now, Protech, I've never really handled the Protech, but I already knew going into this that it was, how Protech's power and snap was kind of their signature trademark thing. In this particular knife, it's noticeably strong because of the size of it. It's a smaller knife, so in hand, when you press it with that much power, it's kind of shocking. Now, if you are familiar with Protech, you know how strong it is. Now imagine that in a little bit of a smaller knife, a 3-finger grip. It's a little bit much for that size, but that is also Protech's thing. I'm sure it's reliable for people who are putting it to the test. That you see where it says 20 CV is flat ground. From there down, it's kind of like a V, which is called a saber grind, all the way down to the cutting edge. Now, you would think it's too small. You really would. While we're talking here, I'll put the scale down and check the weight. You would think by looking at it, it's too small. 61 grams and 2.15 ounces. You would think it's too small for really any use, but here's one thing. First of all, oh, I love that whipping snap sound. Let me try to put it near the microphone. All right. What was I saying? Totally lost my train of thought, having fun snapping it. I will tell you, you will absolutely irritate any of your family members or housemates as you fidget with this. I was never an automatic person. No, I shouldn't say that because I never really had the opportunity to be an automatic person. In the state of Vermont, there's a 3-inch blade law on automatic knives, so it's very limiting. That's one reason why I really was interested in taking a look at this from the Pass Around group, because it is a Protech that I can legally have in Vermont. That's my point, is if you are in a state or a municipality or whatever that is restrictive, there's a lot of places, a lot of states, a lot of cities that are 3 inches or less, or even more strict. So make sure you know your knife laws first of all before you go and make a purchase. I'm just adjusting the camera while I'm recording, which is always professional. And yeah, so know your knife laws in your area. For me in Vermont, it's 3 inches, so that's perfectly legal here. And yeah, that was my interest in looking at it. So the handle is nice and smooth. Now it's not that irritating feeling, that powdered steel feeling. It's nice and comfortable. It's got a stainless steel deep carry pocket clip that's nearly the same size as the entire body of the knife. It's kind of like Civivi's basic standard deep carry clip, right? You see the Torx bits are T6, I believe, on the clip. Let me check. T6. For anyone who's curious, I use Weehaw bits. I mean, most knife enthusiasts are familiar with those. They're just top grade material, 6, 7, 8. Top grade steel, so you strip them less. Okay, so we have T8 on the pivot, T6 on the bits, on the pocket clip. Now, not that that's too important because you can't flip it around, but what my original point in this was, you see how it curls around and it's inset into the body of the knife? I like that, and let me explain why. When I was saying how it's powerful, a lot of times I grip on the clip because you can't put your fingers in front of the blade, obviously, and it's very limited on where you can put your fingers, right? There's not many places to put it that are not in the way of the blade and also not on a clip. So oftentimes my fingers are gripping the clip, and because it's inset into the body, it's much more secure. It's not turning like this, going like this at all. And it probably shouldn't and won't. And if I need to tighten it up, T6 bits. So, that said, one concern I had and continue to have is, when I carry a pocket knife, let's say, for example, a PM2, and this will be a perfect time to show you an example. When I carry a pocket knife, I know, like the PM2, I know how to disassemble it, clean it, oil it, put it back together. An automatic knife, I don't. I'll break it. So I trust Protech by name, and I want to believe that really I'll just have no issues, but knowing off the top of my head that I can't do any like field repair to this, or if I drop it in the desert sand and it's all grit and muck inside the pivot, I can take it apart, clean it out, re-oil it, and put it back together. You get it? This one, I just truly can't. Now, I'm sure that if you buy a knife from Protech, they probably have a great warranty, and they probably will service it for you for X amount of time. Anyways, but you're without your knife at that time, and that's just kind of a pain. So I'm not saying that happens. In fact, I've been told by Protech lovers that you're never going to really probably have that issue with a Protech. But as I keep saying, this is the first one I've actually really held in hand, and it's not mine. So I can't say how that works. But that's just my biggest concern right off the bat with an automatic knife is if something happens, I can't really repair it. The Protech Runt is 3.2 inches closed. And as I've said, it's got 2 slabs of aluminum that come together. Again, I keep saying it gives it that integral full body feel, really nice in hand, gives it that full hand feel. It makes the little knife feel much more substantial. Now, if you have a PM2, take a look at this. It's hard. I'm going to say this. Obviously, it's much, much smaller. Take a look at how much smaller the PM2 or the Runt is to the PM2. As I showed in my first video, the Runt deployed fits inside the PM2's handle. So if you have a PM2, that gives you some kind of gauge as to the size. That having been said, about the size, I was skeptical about the size being capable. And to my surprise and my delight, it's actually almost the perfect size for EDC. and other things. But you know, think about if you're at work just opening boxes or something. If you're at home opening boxes, if you're what do you do that you need a bigger 20 CV blade than this for your just for your in pocket, you know, drop in your pocket EDC carry. If you know you need something heavier duty that you're going to be using every, you know, rip up rug or something, you're probably not going to use this anyways. This is just your EDC, and for that reason, I like it. It's really nice and lightweight. It's comfortable. Now, my last concern on this knife was there was no safety. So if this button got hit, it would do that, right? So I was concerned. So I put it in my pocket. I took a nap with it in my pocket. I've walked all over the place with it in my pocket. I've never once had it deploy without me pushing the button intending for it to be deployed, and that includes having it in my hand like this and just twirling it around and fidgeting with it. I've had no concern about it deploying without my intentionally pushing that button to deploy it. I can't quite explain the science behind it. Obviously the button is fairly well inset or whatever down into there, so it's not easy to accidentally hit. You know, even if I push my thumb into this and slide it over, it's not going to push that button down. I have to intentionally kind of focus the pressure right there, and bam. Protech obviously is a USA brand. Gotta love that. They do a lot of work with the US military. Got to love that. The Runt also comes in with a spine thickness. Well, I see what the stats say, but let me get my calipers and we'll just do this ourselves. Have all of you, let's see, we're just days away from Christmas. If you celebrate, have all of you gotten your shopping done? Let me know down below if you're done or if you are like me and put things off to the last second. Well, I can't talk and do things at the same time, but put things off to the last second and now I need to get some shopping done. 2.83 millimeters on the spine. Which is 0.11. Okay, so that's what that thickest part of the high flat on the blade comes to. I'm not very good at doing behind the edge measurements, but I'm sure you could look that up if you wanted that number. I feel like this cover on the pivot should have been on this side, and the actual Torx bit portion of the pivot should have been on this side, so that the show side would have had a solid silver part there. That's all. Maybe it would have been like, hey, that's confusing because there's a button and we wanted to differentiate between the two. Well, then maybe we could have put a little design on it or something just to make it stand out in that one little design. I don't know. This is just me talking. Other than that, I like the fact that the lanyard hole is like a little tube that's in the back and hidden. I'm not sure what size would fit in that little tiny thing, but at least you have it. I do like that it does have that integral look and feel. I like the jimping milled out of the aluminum. I like the 20 CV blade. It is quite sharp right from out of the box, and I'm sure it will stay that way for quite some time. And if it doesn't, you have a beautiful sharpening choil to access that blade. Even as a beginner, this is a great, actually it's an ideal knife to begin sharpening on. It's small, and you have perfect access with that choil to a beautiful blade. So that's the Protech Runt. What do you guys think? Pine needles from the Christmas tree. Hope you all have a safe holiday season. Stay safe, stay healthy. Happy holidays.